Hello, my name is David Bernknopf, and my new book is 2 Years on Another Planet, or Is It Alaska? It's the story of a young child who's kidnapped and taken to the planet Remulac. No, it is a story of an out-of-work journalist desperate for a job who accepts the only job offered in Alaska, running an investigative news unit there. He has no friends, he has no family, and he doesn't know anything about the unique culture of the state. But it's an opportunity. So he goes there and he tries to get along with a cast of characters who maybe wouldn't find work anywhere else. It's kind of Northern Exposure in a TV newsroom. Now, a lot of folks who do these videos find someone to ask them questions, but I figured since my career was as a journalist, I would try to interview myself. So here we go. Let's see how this works. David, what inspired you to write this book? Well, when I went up there, I decided I would journal. And after journaling for a while, I thought, maybe I've got a memoir here. And then the more I thought about it, I decided I wanted to have fun with the book, add some things, exaggerate, and also not really write about the people I was working with, but write more about the kinds of people I've worked with in the past. So I hope it's a funny book, but it also takes on some serious issues. Issues like how journalists do their job in an atmosphere where people don't trust them. So what's your next question for me? Well, David, how much of Alaska's isolated and rugged environment played into this book? Quite a lot. Alaska is the most stunning place I've ever lived. I love it here in Colorado, but every day you walk outside in Alaska there's beauty all around you, whether it's the rugged mountains, whether it's kayaking, which was something I love doing and I write about in the book. When you're out there with the whales and the puffins and the sea otters, that's special. And so it's hard not to be affected by the environment of Alaska, but there's also negatives to it. The darkness, the light in the summer, the endless winter. So that is all a part of this story. David, can you tell us a little about your writing process? I'm an early riser and I'm an early writer. And by writing, I don't necessarily mean just typing. To me, writing is thinking about the plot, thinking about the characters. What mistake did I make yesterday that I need to clear up today? So writing isn't always writing. It's often thinking. But it's almost always early for me. 5 a.m., a cup of coffee, sit down and get a couple of hours in before the day hits and before you get any phone calls. David, one more question. What recent reads have stuck with you? There's two that really I loved in the last year. One is Clara and the Sun, which was written by Kazuo Ishiguro. And the other is Shadow Ticket by Thomas Pynchon. And what both of these books do is take a kind of real world, but shift it over a little bit. Now, my book is really based in the real world. There are no magical characters. But those two books, those two authors, take you kind of on a journey just to the side of the real world. And I love them both. Is there anything else you want us to know about your book, David? Yeah, I hope the book makes you laugh, but I also hope it makes you think, because I do touch on covering the kinds of issues in Alaska, for instance, that maybe surprise people. There are homeless people in the dead of winter in Alaska, and I covered that quite a lot. Healthcare in rural areas in Alaska is an unbelievable challenge, as is getting fast internet. School funding is a challenge. So I touch on all those serious topics, hopefully in a way that makes a point, but also in a humorous way. But I really wanted this not just to be a comedy, but a dramedy. So there are serious parts of it, and I hope people will understand that I care a lot about journalism and want journalism to work these days, despite the challenges. David, do you have a part of the book you'd like to read to us? I certainly do. This is a section where it deals with another aspect in the book that's a subplot, and that is the loneliness of being in a place where you don't really know anybody. I considered the week a success. I had dragged my reporter through a decent story illustrating that the city still didn't have a realistic plan for next winter, which in Alaska in September is only a few weeks away. I had finally unpacked at home, but had barely spoken to a soul outside of the job. With no family or old friends around, the time had come to find some place to chat with folks I didn't work with. Fond of dive bars, I thought maybe I could find one nearby, a friendly place with cheap beer, talkative drinkers, and one of those digital jukeboxes that plays every song recorded since Scott Joplin sat down at a piano. That's how I found the Blue Caribou. It was a classic dive bar, not too far from the University of Alaska, but it seemed to appeal more to the university maintenance staff than to the students, and there is no cheap beer in Alaska. There were only a few folks there when I walked in around noon and sat down. The Blue Caribou was one of those dives only cleaned at the end of the day, barring major emergency. Poorly lit, sparsely filled. The menu featured a caribou burger, but I chose an old-fashioned beef burger and a club soda and opened up the digital music app for the jukebox. Using the app, if you purchased the song everyone hated, they could look around the bar and never know who played the offending tune. I enjoyed playing all sorts of songs from Marvin Gaye, the Beatles, and Howlin' Wolf to more current things from Olivia Rodrigo, the Beths, and Wet Leg. I imagined I was the bar DJ. This time I started with something most everyone in bars likes, a Tom Petty tune. As the bar got busier and the Zombies' This Will Be Our Year was playing, the guy on my left introduced himself. "Hey, I'm TB. You play this song?" "Yes. Good tune." A friend already. Anyone who likes an obscure Zombies tune is okay by me. "Should I play something by Portugal the Man?" I asked TB. "They're from around here." "Yep, just don't expect any musical appreciation from her," TB said, pointing to the woman sitting to my right. "My name is Sammy," she said. "You'll be happier if you ignore TB. Everyone's happier ignoring TB." Being the professional journalist I am, I picked up that these two had a history. I thought this was an opportune time to open my reporter's toolkit and ask a few questions, hopefully dissipating whatever crap storm was brewing. "TB, what do you do when you're not at the Blue Caribou?" "In summer, I work at the fish processing plant on the inlet. I cut the heads off salmon as they roll down the line. In the winter, I replace HVAC filters and shovel snow. And I'm a musician." Could Sammy's job history top that? "I bartend, but I got fired just the other day. I was working the early shift and I refused to start my day by cleaning bathroom messes from the night before. The boss thought that's what first shift bartenders should do. I disagreed. I told him to clean it himself. He fired me. I left that morning's bucket of mopped up puke on his desk and walked out," she said. "Nice to meet you, TB and Sammy. I'm new in town and just discovered this fine establishment. I work at KTOL as the executive producer of investigations," I said. "That's pretty mysterious sounding," said TB. "Not so mysterious, more serious," I said. "No, you're a man of mystery. I'm going to call you Secret Agent James Bond." "Don't do that," said Sammy from my other side. "He hates that." "No, he doesn't," said TB. "He appreciates it because he's a man of mystery." "You just met him. You don't know what he appreciates. He hates it." "Well, you just met him too. How do you know what he likes and doesn't like?" It was amazing how much these two knew about my preferences 2 minutes after meeting me. "Secret Agent James, do you hate that name?" TB asked. "I don't hate it, TB." "But do you like it?" asked Sammy. "Well, See, he hates it," Sammy said over me to TB. "You just don't know Secret Agent James like I do," said TB. I hope that gives you reason to check out my book and buy it. And I really want to thank the folks at Boulder Bookstore because they've been so nice to me, and it is a fantastic store.